You know, the reason so many people are in massive financial trouble today, it's not about what to do, it's how to think. Yeah. So anyway, the reason people are in so much trouble is they do what people like my poor dad taught them. They went to school, they got a job, they work hard, they save money, they pay taxes, and they invest in a 401k. I'm going, holy moly. It is how you think. It has nothing to do about anything else. I want control of my life. Imagination is more important than knowledge. So you think about imagination, knowledge, life. And what happens is without that knowledge, you can't convert your imagination. See, knowledge processes imagination. So what I do and what you do is we have the knowledge to take what we think about. Think and Grow Rich was a fabulous book. And we convert it to cash. But the average person, since they don't have that knowledge, because they went to school, they got a job, they save money, they get out of debt, and they invest in the stock market, you know, with their 401k, they lack knowledge. That's the problem. And so they want us to give them the answer. And it's infinite. You know, there's so many different ways you can get rich. Why would you follow my way? But I never thought it would get this bad. I cannot believe how much money we printed. I knew they were printing money in '72. That's when I bought my first gold coin as a Krugerrand in Hong Kong, because it was illegal for Americans to own gold until '74.
Okay.
So I buy my Krugerrand, I'm now a criminal. I have to smuggle this little gold coin into America. And I'm going, ¿Qué pasa? You know, what's happening in America?
Yeah.
But I had no idea how much money they would print. You know, the Fed and the Treasury and then Wall Street and the banks, it's a criminal cartel.
It is.
George Gammon and I were just in Jekyll Island where the Fed was created in 1913. It was kind of, oh my God, this is the place, you know. We have to wake up because we're being ripped off. Pure and simple, we're being screwed by the Fed, by the banks, by Wall Street, and everybody else. So B stands for big business, 500 employees or more. But Mark, there's one more word attached to that. It's called a brand. You see, when people ask me, what's your net worth? I say, what is my brand worth?
Right.
It's worth billions because I am all over the world. That's not a mistake. And I stands for inside investor. Okay. You see, when you buy a stock, bond, or a mutual fund, you're outside. And so the thing is I always wanted to be the inside. So my poor dad and my poor mom, they're great people. They're always on the outside. They didn't know how they were being screwed.
Right.
And so what I had to do, you know, once I bought that gold coin in Hong Kong after flying, looking for gold in Vietnam, I wanted to come across onto this side. This was Rich Dad's side.
Right.
So I knew I had to build a brand. Now, it took me years to do it. I failed so many times. But, you know, I don't know, people don't even know this. New York Times took me off the bestseller list because I was on it for almost 7 years.
Wow.
They said, gotta be fair, let somebody else get on there. Well, it's still on the bestseller list internationally.
Wow.
But, you know, those commie, pinko, liberal, left, far fascist, Marxist, they don't like it if you're talking about capitalism and getting rich. They hate you. You know, they'd rather have you AOC, Ocasio-Cortez, and Bernie Sanders and all that, and they're entitled to their point of view. I'm a capitalist. I'm not a socialist, and I was killing communists. So if I want to kill communists, I should just come home to the States. Right. I build assets.
Right.
So you look at Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I have no money into the book, and it sells 1 million copies a year at $5 a book. Now, the math is tough. That's $5 million a year just from one book. Mm-hmm. So the cash is flowing this way. The reason I went into real estate is because I'm an insider. I cannot do this in stocks. So I come on to the inside here, and so let's have 1 million here. I come down here and I marry it with $4 million in debt. So I buy a $5 million real estate property that throws off cash flow. But because I've stepped up my basis from 1 million to 5 million with 4 million in debt, I depreciate it. And because I depreciate it, I pay no taxes. The only reason you get into real estate is there's two reasons for real estate. Debt, I use debt to buy. Then I pay no taxes, and then the cash flow is tax-free.
Right.
It's just common sense.
Right.
But that's what my rich dad taught me. And my poor dad and mom on this side is get a job and go to school and work hard and save money and pay taxes. That's not what I want to do. But it's a free country, you can do what you want to do. You see, most people think their CPAs are smart. This is how you look at the world. And I've gone through so many CPAs because, they're the village idiots.
Right.
They want me to pay taxes. I said, there's only one reason I hire an accountant, because I don't want to pay tax. And so I would go and hire these accountants, and they say, the best way, what you should do is pay more taxes. And I said, you're fired. If you can understand that, if your listeners can understand that, you've got to choose your advisors very wisely. I started in silver in 1964. The reason 64 is a key date, that was the year they took the US silver coins and they did exactly as the Romans did in the Roman Empire. They debased it. They asked nickel and other cheap base metals, that's why it's called debasing. So all of a sudden, I'm a little kid, I'm 17 years old, I'm looking at my coins, and they got copper tinges on them.
Mm-hmm.
And that went into Gresham's law, and Gresham's law says, when fake money enters the system, good money goes into hiding. So I didn't know this. I'm this little kid in a little town called Hilo, Hawaii. I take my dollar, I go down to the bank, and I buy a roll of dimes and stuff like this. And I'd sit there and look for the real silver coins. And I would take them aside and I give the coins back. I'd give the fake coins back to my banker, who was my neighbor. Mm. He had no idea what I was doing. He says, why are you collecting these guys? I said, I'm a coin collector. But what I was doing was saving a bag full of base metals.
Right.
Dimes, quarters, half dollars that were real silver. And today you can buy bags of that stuff because it's more valuable than the fake silver coins that came out in '64. And then that's when in Vietnam, I was flying out there and I went, I better go look for gold. And I had no idea what gold looked like because up until '74, it was illegal for Americans to own gold. So today I save silver, gold, and Bitcoin because they're outside the Fed, Wall Street, and the banking system. I am an outsider. I am a rebel outsider. I refuse to get sucked into that swamp, So nothing to do with the monetary or the stock market. There's nothing wrong with the stock market. I don't like to play it because I'm not good at it. I've taken 2 companies public and, like they say, once you see sausage being made, you'll never eat the stuff.
Right.
You ever saw what went into taking a company public through an IPO? I won't touch stocks. It's completely manipulated.
Okay.
I'm a control freak.
Right.
That's why I stay small. I want to hold on to my gold, silver, Bitcoin. I don't want gold and silver ETFs. Nothing wrong with them, but they're playing games. I have a lot of gold mining stocks. I have silver stocks. Those things, some of them I buy through ETFs simply because I'm not good at it. Mm-hmm. Because I took 2 companies public, one from Argentina, one from China. And the gold mine in China is still in China. They took it from me.
Yeah.
So when they say Chinese steal intellectual property, Chinese will steal anything, those little bastards. I want to control my assets. I don't want this to be full of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. I want assets that I created and I control. I'm a control freak that way. Now, I'm not saying it's the right way or the wrong way. I could have made more money, playing Amazon and all that other stuff. I love Apple, I love Amazon. I just don't like stocks because they're too manipulated. I want to manipulate it. Okay. I don't want them manipulated. I want to manipulate it.
Right.
So, and I'm doing really good simply because what's my brand? But the brand is beyond anything. It's like, let me ask you this. How much is the brand Apple worth? How much is Coca-Cola worth?
Right.
And that's what the average person who went to school and got a job doesn't understand is the power of the brand. And, brands are billions of dollars. And because I have a brand, when I announce a book, I sell 50 licenses. Mm. Like in Chinese, Japanese, Filipino, Spanish. And the money just pours in because I have a brand. All I have to do is say I have a new book and I have a new one coming out next year, and money pours in. But that's because it's a brand. And guess how much money do I put into that book?
None.
Because the publisher, let's say the publisher in China, has to send me the check, and then they send me royalties.
Mm-hmm.
It's called an infinite return.
Sure.
But that's what I was trained to do by my rich dad, whereas my poor dad